This passage is from the second station of the Risale-i Nur collection, and it explains the significance of a particular verse in the Quran. The author first discusses the proofs and evidences presented in the previous first station in Arabic, and then provides a translation and brief explanation of them. The verse being discussed highlights the creator of the universe, and many other verses in the Quran also emphasize this point by mentioning the heavens as a majestic testament to his power and oneness. It is fitting that the discussion begins with the heavens, as they are the most awe-inspiring and beautiful aspect of creation that people encounter when they arrive in this world. Anyone who opens their eyes here will see a generous banquet hall, an artistic exhibition, a majestic army camp and training ground, a wonderful place to admire and explore, and a meaningful and wise place to contemplate. All of these things point to the owner of this beautiful guest house, the author of the great book, and the ruler of this magnificent realm. By looking up at the shining face of the sky covered in light and gold, the seeker says, "Show me, and I will find what I'm looking for." And so they look, and they see. This is an expression of the magnificence and comprehensiveness of the Creator of the heavens, who manages and controls billions of stars with ease, some of which are larger than our planet by a factor of 1,000 or more, moving at speed 70 times faster than a cannonball without colliding with each other or falling out of orbit. It speaks to the absolute control exercised over these massive objects, their perfect coordination in executing the tasks assigned to them, such as the duties of the sun and the moon, and the fact that their presence in the sky is even more evident than that of the earth. This manifestation is a testament to the necessity, unity, and existence of the Creator, and in the midst of his activity, it bears witness to the truth consisting of arrangement, organization, management, purification, and regulation without interruption or disturbance of the debris that would defile the face of the sky, as well as to the ability to maneuver like an organized army and to display different real and imaginary forms every night and every year by rotating the earth. At the first step of the first station,
لا إله إلا وله الواجب الوجود الذي دل على وجوب وجوده في وحدته، السماوات بجميع ما فيها بشهادة عظمة إحاطة حقيقة، التسخير والتدبير والتدوير والتنظيم والتنظيف والتوظيف الواسعة المكملة بالمشاهدة واحد.
It has been said, afterwards, the sky that is named Sevai Sima and is the site of the strange judgment day called Masariya Cape, speaks loudly and shouts to the traveler who came to this world and the guests, "Look at me, you can know and find the one who sent you here with great curiosity." The guest looks at his sour but merciful face and listens to his tremendous but good news noise, and sees that the cloud suspended in the middle between the ground and the sky waters the ground garden in a very wise and merciful way and brings the water of life to the people of the ground. It moderates the heat, that is, the intensity of the fire of life, and comes to the aid of every place according to its needs. While performing many duties like these, just like the orderly appearance and disappearance of a well-organized army in response to urgent orders, that huge cloud suddenly disappears, all of its parts resting, and none of its effects are visible. Then, when it receives the command "rain upon the earth," it gathers and fills up in an hour, or maybe a few minutes, standing as if waiting for the commander's order. Then, the traveler looks at the wind in the sky and sees that the air is occupied with so many tasks in a very wise and generous way that it seems as though every particle of that inert air listens to, knows, and performs all the commands that come from this universe's Sultan without leaving any of them behind, all in a state of orderliness and under the authority of that commander, providing breath to all the inhabitants of the earth and serving in many universal duties and services such as transmitting the heat, light, electricity, and sounds necessary for life, and being a means of inspiration for plants, all through an unseen hand, in a very conscious, knowledgeable, and life-loving way. Then, he looks at the rain and sees that, in those drops sent from a subtle, clear, sweet, non-existent, and unseen treasury of mercy, there are so many divine gifts and tasks that it seems as though mercy is personified and flows from the divine treasury in the form of drops, and thus rain is called mercy. Then he looks at the lightning and listens to the thunder, and sees that they are engaged in very strange and amazing services. Then he turns his gaze inward and looks into his own mind and says to himself, "This inert and lifeless air, this unconscious cloud surely does not know us and does not show us mercy or come to our aid on its own accord. It does not appear in the absence of orders and does not hide without a trace. Rather, it moves under the command of a very powerful and merciful commander, disappearing without leaving a trace and appearing instantly when needed. And with the order and power of a very active, sublime, playful, and majestic Sultan, it fills and empties the sky realm time after time, constantly writing with wisdom, erasing and cancelling out on its board, turning it into a record of destruction and resurrection. And with the planning of a very gracious, benevolent, generous, and provident manager, it rides on the wind and places rain treasures like mountains, reaching the needy places. As if it pities and makes them happy with flowers, shedding tears of compassion, it cools the intensity of the sun's heat and sprinkles water on its gardens like a sponge, washing and cleaning the earth's surface. And that curious traveler says to himself, this inert, lifeless, constantly agitated, indecisive, stormy, turbulent, unstable and aimless air, which comes into existence through the veil of this atmosphere and its superficial appearance, proves with countless wise and merciful and artistic works, gifts, and aids that this diligent wind and agile servant has no movement on its own, rather, it moves under the command of a very powerful, knowledgeable, wise, and generous commander. It appears as though each particle of the air knows every task and understands and listens to every command of that commander like a soldier, listening to every divine command that flows through the air and obeying it, providing for the breathing and life of all animals, the inspiration and growth of plants, the cultivation of necessary materials for life, the direction and management of clouds, and the movement and travel of heatless vessels, and especially for the transmission of sounds, particularly through wireless phones, telegraphs, radios, and conversations. In addition to these universal and collective services, I see that the particles of the air, which consist of two simple substances such as nitrogen and oxygen, each equal to the others, are employed in countless divine arts on the earth's surface with perfect order by an unseen hand of wisdom.